What's up, guys? Happy Monday, April 25th, 2022. Let's start the week off right. We only got, it's the last one of April, and we're headed, or not officially summer, but it feels like it where I'm at. But then again, it's nice and rainy, humid. You could feel the pressure drop. So I don't know, maybe we'll have a light summer. I'd be game for that, but I doubt that's going to happen. Man, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hope you had a strong Sunday, whether it be, MLB or NBA, or whether you did DFS or player props. We are recharged and ready to go. After this stream, we'll have an NBA stream, and then throughout the duration of this stream, we'll be researching MLB, not just for DFS, but also for the prop betting streets and all that good stuff. So I'm ready to get into it, get caught up, and do all the good stuff. I'm going to shout out to a video we did this morning. It was the MLB PrizePicks video. Only a couple hundred views or something like that. But if you are looking for MLB PrizePicks plays in the morning, maybe before lines move, something like that, I'm going to test the waters on that video. Every year when MLB comes around, I always try to throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, because it's such a hard niche to keep views on, right? People just don't care about baseball. So I try to put something out there that's got a little bit of value. So hopefully, if you guys didn't see that, maybe go check it out after this, and tell me what you think. I'm definitely looking for feedback, ways to improve that video. If it's something that you don't think you would watch, let me know. If I can get that video to average, 300-400 views, I'd be happy. And then that would just be a piece of content that we try and throw every morning and go from there. But yeah, shout out to the live chat, Mighty Saint. What up, Mia Moore, Skimmer, Parker, Under Pressure Production says, I went for Wainwright yesterday to try and be different. Didn't work out. Oof, that was tough. I didn't play that slate, but I think that was yesterday, right? The Wainwright in Great American Ballpark. I think I probably would have had some shares of Wainwright, expecting some some crown ball goodness, but yeah, sometimes your pitchers are going to implode, get blown up. We actually have seen some offense the last 2 days, which is a welcome change versus the first couple weeks. There's still some warning track flyouts that I want to see skip the fence, but we saw, a football score in Detroit over the weekend and a couple double-digit run games. Yankees dropped a 10-piece yesterday on Cleveland, so it's good to see, right? My picks got Amber Hearded. Yikes. Holy shnikes, Skimmer. Too early for that. I wasn't ready for that. What up, what up, Danny P, Justin Sports? That Guardian stack looking a little frisky. You think so? We'll talk about it. I'm sometimes a little bit hesitant of teams flying from one coast dang near to the other. East to west, I guess, is a little less hurtful than west to east. Gain some hours, but yeah, a little jet lag is potential, but also don't want to try and quantify the unquantifiable, so I can get behind that. I don't mind it. What up, Gilbert? Doing all right? What up, Large Sarge? Lost it at your Twitter thread Saturday? Bruh. I was reading comments for the video this morning, and somebody was like, how come you're not using your new backdrop? And it took a minute for that to click. I was like, what? Huh? New backdrop. I was like, did I have a different scene? I was like, oh, the Twitter. Yeah. Oh my God, bro. You don't understand. I literally, and I had to share it on Twitter just to, because it was funny. But I was sitting here for a hot, hour thinking, oh my God, I got a stalker. Somebody wants to kill me. What is this? What is this? So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check out my pinned tweet on Twitter if you want a little laugh. And I won't spoil it, but maybe in a couple days we'll talk about it. I also think maybe my sister hit me up and it was like, she told me if I'm not going to use it, which I'm not, she said that my nephew would probably hang it up in his room because for whatever reason they said they love me. But maybe I'll let my nephew have this shrine to me in his room or something. But man, it was creepy. All All right, let's talk some baseball here. So, what I like to do is start things off. I like to open up the Roto Grinders weather report, see what Kevin Roth has out there in terms of warning us on stuff to target or not target. Looks like nothing. Rather clean day. Colorado at Philly, winds out to left at 10 miles an hour. So that's a good sign, man. That's a good sign. No weather today. We don't have to play weatherman. We don't have to project 5 innings and hope for the best. So good to know. We'll also open up the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet. I'll cross-reference all these projected openers. Make sure nothing's changed since I've gone to sleep. Burns, Sammy Long, Kyle Freeland, Kyle Gibson, Battle of the Kyles. Jose Barrios and Nate Eovaldi, Scherzer and Michaelis, Framber Valdez and Dane Dunning, Shane Bieber and Michael Lorenzen, and lastly, Walker Buehler and Merrill Kelly. So, quick note, DraftKings has a 7-game slate, which includes the Phillies, which is going to look like one of my favorite offenses to target. Fanduel, just a 5-game slate. That doesn't start till 7:07 Eastern. That's going to leave off the Phillies game and the Brewers game. So really, really different look slate on both sides because you're going to lose Corbin Burns and the Philly stack on Fanduel. So just want to put that out there if you guys didn't already know that there are 2 different start times to today's slate, Second place in Minimax or Friday for a stack. Let's go, Gilbert. I think my best mini max so far this season is probably like 3rd or 4th. I haven't been playing that as much as I want to. It is one of my favorite contests to target, but maybe I'll jump in there today. Maybe we'll see each other at the top. I haven't even reserved anything yet. I low key just woke up like 30 minutes ago because I'm a grown man that sleeps in during the day. It's a thing. All right, let's open up the spreadsheet. Let's start doing some research, and we'll start talking some plays, maybe make a list. So I'll have my trusty notepad open, and then I also have different sites. I guess I got FanDuel, DraftKings, Fangraphs. All right, cool. We're vibing there. So we want to come away with this stream with a couple pictures, a couple stacks. We'll get some picks to click, right? Giants and the Brewers first game on the docket. This is just for the DraftKings slate, and then it would also be on the board for our prop partners. Sam Long taking on Corbin Burns. So Sam Long, I believe, is an opener, so we don't know that he's going to go very long. 2 innings in that last outing, a point inning. So I think, best case scenario for him is maybe we see 45, 50 pitches, and then we dip into the bullpen. So that's probably going to completely exclude him from consideration as a player today. And it would also make us weight the starting matchup a little bit less for the Brewers, and would be more so banking on the talent for the Brewers than anything else. Can kind of refer to this bullpen chart in the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet. See if we can maybe project some arms that might come out. Looks like this whole bullpen would probably be available based on usage the last couple days. So maybe Jacob Junis threw 61 pitches on Friday. I don't know if he's somebody that they want to go every 5 days and stretch him back to a starter. Did start for Kansas City, but we'll see. So with the Brewers stack, it's more so going to be based on talent. I think the likely outcome is the Brewers only get 1 at-bat each against Sam Long. So if we want to stack the Brewers, we're just targeting talent. The Giants stack. So yesterday, I think Mike Yastrzemski was added to the Rona list. Yeah. So let's go ahead and change up the projected lineup. So this is not confirmed, but Jock Peterson did lead off yesterday. Hit a pair of bombs. So we're going to go Peterson, Belt, Darren Ruff, Brandon Crawford, Wilma, Luis Gonzalez, Tyro Estrada, former Yankee great Jason Vossler, and Joey Bott. All right, cool. So this is a different lineup. Yastrzemski's definitely a downgrade. However, Jock Peterson is not lacking power. So Corbin Burns, though, he's looking pretty good. He has open up his Fangraphs card. He has kind of picked up where he left off. I know he had a rough start to get the season going, but the swing and strike rate and the pitch count is trending in the right direction. A 15.7% overall swing and strike rate on the season. His lowest was that opening day game at 13%, and it's gone up from that 13% since. And then if we look at his pitch count, we've gotten Burns up to over 100 pitches. So that's a really good sign. Back-to-back games of 7 innings. Now, this Giants team, usually a team that I don't go out of my way to target, and usually a little bit more scrappy, but they are minus a couple of their regulars here. So I think Burns, when he's at his best, is a top 5 pitcher in baseball in both leagues combined. So Burns, especially on DraftKings, where you have the availability to play him, and you don't play him on Fanduel. I'm gonna get Corbin Burns, and he'll probably be one of my highest owned pitchers, right? One of my highest sought after guys. Looking at the list, we got Bieber in a solid start. Max Scherzer's kind of on the fence with his with the matchup upside, but Max is Max. We're gonna play him. So we do get some fun names to click on today. But I think Burns is certainly one of the pitchers that can have a top 2, top 3 score on the slate. So I like the thought of Corbin Burns here. And just out of curiosity, knowing that he's at 100 plus pitches if he has to be, what are some lines that we're getting on Corbin Burns over on PrizePicks and on Underdog? We're getting 7 strikeouts, 18 outs. So they're actually going to project him to go 6 innings with an 18 out projection, and he's gone 7 the last 2 games. That's something to keep an eye on if you didn't want to sweat 7 strikeouts and then 36.5 fantasy score. Now over 30, I'm kind of hoping it implies the quality start and whatnot. And then what about Underdog for Burns? They have him at 93.5 pitches. Now that I would be tempted with the over, right? Because he did break 100 pitches in that last outing. And he's actually cleared his last 2 games. So I kind of like the thought. So I'll tell you what, let's make a list here of stuff that we're going to target. We're going to go PrizePicks alongside DFS, obviously. So first of all, if you're not an Underdog, we launched this partnership the other day. And if you do sign up using my code, not only will they double your first deposit up to $100, you'll also get, if you hit myself up or hit Danielle up in the Discord, we'll give you a special role to show that you signed up with our code. Just a little something that sticks out as the community grows. I kind of like this Underdog over 93.5 pitches because that's I think that he's going to do it. So simple as that. Over 93.5 pitches for Corbin Burns. So we'll add that to a list here, and we'll keep it going. So they also have him 18 outs and playing him for 6 innings. They have him at 7.5 strikeouts. So if you did want to bet his strikeouts, you get a softer line on PrizePicks where you can push if he only gets 7. And then looking at the offense in this game, there's really not anything I want to get behind, especially not while lineups aren't confirmed. All of the available hits for the Giants are just half a hit, which I guess if Burns can hand the ball over to Josh Hader with the bridge in between, I do like the thought on some unders here, but I'd rather not sweat a half a hit. I'd rather go after lines that are like 1.5. So I'm not going to do that there. Maybe we'll look at the Giants lines on here. They got nothing. Okay. And Sam Long, let's pull him up on Fangraphs. Usually when these relievers can get into a game, they don't have to be worried about efficiency in terms of their pitches, and they don't have to manage their gas tank, so to speak. They can just kind of empty out. So I wonder if Sam Long, Long hasn't allowed an earning yet. And what's his batted ball data telling us? Because the hey, yo, Val Savage, I appreciate that sub. 33% ground ball rate. Wish that was a little bit lower. Infield hit rates kind of 3.68 xFIP. So I'll tell you what. I'll also jot down. Let's go no run first inning for Brewers Giants, right? We just need Jock Peterson to not hit a homer off of Corbin Burns, right? And then I kind of like the thought of the Brewers offense remaining a little bit stagnant, and Sam Long not giving up a run in the first inning. I wish I had deeper sample size to feel better about this. I'll double check his minor league stuff from last year. But usually these bullpen guys are a little tricky to get hits off without seeing them a few times, right? At least a little tricky to score off of. So let's look up Sam Long on MLB.com. Okay. Sam Long. Maybe it's Sammy Long? Sammy Long? There we go. Oh, okay, now it's Sam. Whatever. Let me skip this. You know, I got this this royalty-free track list, and I got hit with a copyright strike the other day. I was like, what? You can't trust nobody. But these videos don't really make ad revenue, so I don't really care. It was one of those, we'll just take the ad revenue. We're not going to kill you. All right. I was like, lit. So let's get splits. Basically, I want to key on his lefty splits last year in the minors. Nothing, huh? All right, we're just going to go off of him being a bullpen guy. So I'll add no run first inning Brewers Giants for PrizePicks, and on underdog we'll put Corbin Burns over 93.5 pitches. For DFS, we like Corbin Burns. So let me open up my player pool tab, and I'm probably going to start him as a tier 2, maybe come back and adjust accordingly. Neither team looked like a stack I gotta get to. A 3 implied run total for the Giants, 4.2 for the Brewers. Maybe the Giants, if Corbin Burns' ownership got a little too aggressive, would get to some of these Giants bets, but it's a little bit more watered down than you would like them, at least projection wise, with a couple Rona cases. So give me Burns, no long, obviously. And then if we wanted to get to the Brewers, we're just banking on talent, but they have been really kind of sluggish out the gate so far. So nothing that we're going to force to make happen. We're going to like this next game a lot for offense at least. And then maybe you could talk me into some Gibson. Let's talk about the Rockies and the Phillies. Again, only on DraftKings and the prop shops to attack if you want to get some action on it. The Fanduel slate does not carry this game. Kyle Freeland on the bump, taking out Kyle Gibson. Pair of Kyles going at it. This game leads the league in Kyles per pitch, which is a stat I just made up. Freeland, I talked about it on the video this morning. Freeland actually has given up less home runs because he pitches in Coors than if he would have pitched elsewhere, specifically in Citizens Bank Park, right? I thought that was a fun stat. Coors added that like wall in the outfield to rob a few homers, and I'm sure a lot of the would-be homers became bombs. I think the stat was an extra 4 or an extra 3 homers he would have given up this year if he was pitching in Citizens Bank every game. Here it is. And then last year he gave up 20 homers, and if he would have pitched in Citizens Bank, he would have gave up 26. So he actually is one of the league leaders in expected home run differential versus actual home run. And he still gave up a decent amount of homers last year, a 1.5 homer per 9 to righty. So with that in mind, I do like the Philly stack quite a bit. And I mentioned in that aforementioned video, Rhys Hoskins and Nick Castellanos are looking really, really good at the top of the bomb detector. Both have a rating above 4 in the way that this is built. If you have a near 4 or more importantly an above 4 rating on the bomb detector, it means you meet a lot of qualifications to be considered for a homer today. So the Philly stack is going to be one of my favorites to target, and those are going to be guys that I'm keying in on. So I'm still on their fantasy points for PrizePicks. What is this song? I'm skipping it. It's like some, I don't know. I felt like I was watching what's that nerdy Japanese cartoon stuff? Anime, yeah. I don't know. That's what the song was like giving me anime vibes. Anyway, so I'm not gonna pitch Kyle Freeland today. We did just get a Rockies lineup out though, so I'll talk about Kyle Gibson. Maybe we'll double down on a Gibson take we had on the earlier video. Looks like Connor Joe is gonna lead off for them. I like that. Charlie Blackmon batting second. Chris Bryant batting third. CJ Cron, Randall Grichuk. Randall Grichuk's batting fifth. Randall Grichuk, Ryan McMahon. Hello, I am Elias, Brendan Rodgers, and Jose. I can be your hero, baby. Iglesias. Boom, locked in. Let's talk about Kyle Gibson. So, first of all, Kyle Gibson in his last couple games did get to 90 pitches, and that's a good sign for him in terms of being stretched out. Last start was at Coors, and he's going to see the same team twice in 5 days. Generally not something we love, but I'm going to look the other way today and hope that, hey, the Rockies played 3 games in the last 2 days and went from Detroit to Philly here. So maybe Kyle Gibson can continue his 90 plus pitches, and that's why we were on his over was it 17.5 outs this morning, and I'm gonna go ahead and stay on that over, right? 17.5 outs, so I don't really need to sweat strikeouts. I need to sort of quality start even. Just get me 6 innings and let's ride, and I think he's got a good chance. This Rockies lineup features Chris Bryant, CJ Cron, and yesterday we saw the emergence of Randall Grichuk. We knew those power numbers were going to drop here and there, but we can kind of neutralize that with Kyle Gibson splits versus righties. A 58% ground ball rate last year against right-handed hitting, and has sustained well over 50% the last couple seasons. So kind of like him to eat some innings here and hopefully get through 6. So we're going to keep Gibson as one of our prize picks play. Kyle Gibson over 17.5 outs. And then I'm going to be stacking Phillies for DFS. Absolutely. Probably one of my favorite stacks on the slate for DraftKings. Phillies DK. We'll put DK here. They have an implied run total of 5.1. And in context to this slate, there's not many 5s and there's not many teams getting to 5. Matter of fact, only the Dodgers are the only other team with an implied run total at 5 or better. So Phillies are going to look really, really good against Kyle Freeland and Rhys Hoskins, Castellanos, Real Muto. All those guys are going to look pretty good. They did play last night, right? Sunday Night Baseball against the Brewers. The Angel Hernandez primetime game. We all know how that went. Maybe there's some frustration there, but quick turnaround. Didn't have to worry about travel. So I do love the Philly stack. Going to be one of my favorites. I wouldn't feel that enthralled or obligated to pitch Kyle Gibson, especially on a slate like this that has some depth at the pitcher spot, right? We've been getting day 4 pitchers, day 5 pitchers. Today we get Burns, Bieber, Scherzer, like we got some options at the top. But I will say maybe there's some meat on the bone just in a vacuum at 6,800. Could see 20 plus fantasy points being a range outcome. So on DraftKings to fill out the back end of 150 something lineups, I would probably get to a little Kyle Gibson, but obviously he would have probably 5 guys above him. But I don't mind getting to just a little bit. If we go look at Kyle Gibson's metrical results thus far through the first 3 games, we'll go to game log, play discipline. He somehow got a 16% swinging strike rate. That dropped to 11% at Coors. And sometimes at Coors, your swinging strike rate just generally drops a couple percent anyway, a couple points anyway, because it's Coors, right? The altitude, the thinner air, your breaking balls drop a little weirder, differently. So I'm willing to kind of meet him in the middle between the 11% we saw last week or 5 days ago and the 18+% we saw the 2 starts prior. Am I thinking long term or relying on this stuff as Gibson being a long-term strikeout guy? Well, no, because history shows us that he's not really a strikeout guy. But things can change. Pitchers can mix up their pitch mix a little bit. They can add some spin rate. They can add some velo. So looking at his pitch usage so far this year, 43% on the fastball, 20% on the slider, 23% on the cutter, and then the changeup at 11%. So, a 4-pitch pitcher with plenty of options to go to. Looking at last year, it's pretty linear. A matter of fact, 5-pitch pitcher, right? What's the velo on the fastball? 92. So he's sitting right where he was last year. Maybe the curveball usage has come down a little bit, but all those other pitches are a plus here. So I don't mind going to Gibson for a little positive regression when it comes to strikeouts today. This Rockies lineup on paper doesn't have a ton of giant K numbers, but there's still a bunch of 1 and 5s. And you get to a couple of these bats, like a Ryan McMahon or something like that, where they strike out over 1 and 4. So I don't hate the thought of Kyle Gibson for DFS, but it's strictly to fill out the back end of some mass entries. So give me some Philly stacks, give me a little bit of Gibson. If I wanted to pick on Gibson, I guess it would be just betting on talent, 2, maybe digging into his metrics against lefties the last couple years, which has been less K percentage, higher xFIP, right? Over 4.4 xFIP to lefty. So maybe Charlie Blackmon profiles well. Maybe Ryan McMahon, even though he strikes out a lot, he still has a 200 ISO. But a lot of these numbers for Rockies last couple years can be really, really different from at home versus on the road. But guys like Chris Bryant, CJ Cron, Randall Grichuk, we know them outside of course to have power anywhere. So if you wanted to get some Rockies, I wouldn't talk you away from it, but it's not going to be a core option for me. Just a 3.7 run total. That's making me feel a whole lot better about my PrizePicks stake in them. Let's get caught up on chat before we move on. What up, Paul? Says you got them earlier picks locked in. Any thoughts on runs and first inning props? So far, I don't mind taking the under in the Brewers Giants. Schwarber was about to slap Hernandez. Bro, Kyle Schwarber was all of us, right? And it wasn't like one side or whatever. He was screwing up for everybody. And when Josh Hader made that pitch and turned around, like, he had a good poker face, but you knew that he knew. It was like, okay, he might have got away with one there. But hey, pitchers know if the ump. First of all, Angel Hernandez he's just perennially one of the worst umps in baseball, and he actually sued Major League Baseball a couple years ago, accusing them of it was a racial profiling or something like that. So that type of lawsuit in the back kind of maybe gives him a layer of protection, trying to avoid, retaliation, something like that. But he's so gosh dang bad that I can't really think of many other people that could be that bad at his job and still have that job, and then also have his number called in big moments or primetime games, stuff like that. So, but poor Schwarber, poor everyone in that game. There were some bad calls. Amber is effing psycho. Oh no, dude! I've only seen a couple of the clips from that trial, and it's just like Johnny Depp making sarcastically under his breath, just like making the other dude look stupid. It's your boy Trill Spill McGill, aka Esau McGraw. What's good, gang? Yeah, what up, Caleb? Yeah, what up, EB? Hope you guys are doing all right today. Shout out to you guys. All right, let's get on to the main slate for Fanduel. Oh, by the way, if you missed the video this morning, I don't even tell you. There's 2 picks I like on PrizePicks for the Phillies in the video this morning. So you have to watch the video to find that out. But let's go look at underdogs, see if there's anything over here that we can target for that. So they got Gibson at 5.5 strikeouts. I think my strikeout model might have had a slight lean on the over, but I don't want to sweat it. 90 pitches on Gibson gives me 6.2, so it's barely on the over. Bing bong.
Sosa super chatted $4.99. Need help Yahoo CVS edit. Can I pay you to make a video? Whatever Yahoo earned.
What up, King Sosa? I appreciate that dono. Yahoo CSV edit. So, you're just trying to download the CSV, right? I don't have any action on Yahoo right now. But typically, when you enter a contest on Yahoo, you can go to my contest. Let me see if I can open up. You can go to my upcoming contest, right? And there should be a way to download the CSV, but I don't know if I can replicate that right now without having something in there, and then editing the CSV. You just really the way I do it is I copy and paste my Opto CSV. So I use Cruncher, and when I download it, I just open that CSV and I copy and paste it over the one I got. Now there are ways where you can just upload the CSV that you have from the site to Fantasy Cruncher or whatever Opto you use and do it that way. But I just copy and paste it. I'm trying to look at Yahoo on my second screen to see if I can get you a little bit of a lean here. So MLB, let's see, sort of $1. I haven't played on Yahoo probably since NFL like week 4 last year. And the main reason I haven't is because of the CSV, or really because of sweating the live lineups. So when you hit enter on a contest, you can go upload lineups from a CSV. So I guess if you already had your lineups ready to go, if you wanted a placement, a batch of lineups, you can do that and just upload it when you hit enter the contest. But I'll look at it a little bit. If you hit me up on Twitter, I'll try and get a better answer. I don't want to try and figure it out on the air install, but it probably is not that complicated. Yo, this song is like epic, bro. I feel like I'm in a movie. For late swap. So do you use Fantasy Cruncher? So for late swap, it's the same process wherever. Like I said, that's what I was not liking to play on Yahoo, because I didn't know, like, maybe they fixed it since then, but like live sweating a slate on Yahoo was very inconvenient when you looked at live lineups, because they didn't sort it by any which way that made sense. You couldn't just, at the time it wasn't sorted by top scorer. I don't know if they've changed that, but because I didn't know what was looking good, what wasn't, it was hard to know what needed to be late swap, right? But on Fantasy Cruncher, what I would do if I'm trying to late swap is pretty simple. I just click the late swap optimizer, and then I upload the CSV, the live CSV with the live lineups, and then the Opto does the rest of the work. As long as my player pool, my projections are what they need to be, it will know that, all right, we'll get some of these guys in here, and we can't obviously put these games that are locked in there. So assuming you use Cruncher, yeah. Mad issues with Yahoo and Fantasy Cruncher. All right, that's fair. But yeah, if you're going through this late swap optimizer option here, you shouldn't have that much of a problem. You really don't need to late swap for baseball anyway, unless this is like still an NBA question or something like that. More than likely, you have most of your lineups out, but I guess there are some cases where one or two guys get scratched. But yeah. All right, hey, I appreciate that dono though, for real. So if this video gets hit for copyright, we're good. You've covered the ad revenue it would have made. We did get a Brewers lineup out, so let's back up a little bit, get that punched in here, and maybe that'll help us feel better about our no-run first inning. Oh no, Andrew McCutchen's leading off. All right, so against the lefty, he has a chip in a chair. Right, Darren Ruff. All right, I don't feel great about that no-run first inning. Wait, I'm an idiot. Why did I went to the other side? Willie Adames, Christian Yelich, Hunter Renfroe. So we need McCutchen to keep the ball in the park. Keston Hiura, Lorenzo Cain, Victor Caratini, Mike Brosseau, Colton Wong. So can Adames, Yelich, and McCutchen not score on Sam Long? What does Sam Long throw? 93 on the fastball. Curveball's at 75. Adames can strike out Yelich. We can hope for lefty on lefty to stay in the park. I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to keep it on the list still, the no-run first inning. But McCutchen is a little scary, menacing, if you will, against lefties. Martin says, so on Fantasy Labs, I've noticed that they have a circle with a number next to certain players. Do you have any idea what that means? A circle with a number next to certain players. I would assume that means lineup order, projected batting order, but I don't know. I haven't used labs in a couple years. I've been on Fantasy Cruncher. Maybe they used to do those pro trends too, so I would probably just try to see if it's one of those two. If not, I couldn't tell you, and I don't want to lie, 2012 McCutcheon incoming. Stop it. Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Let's get to the FanDuel main slate here. Eovaldi taking on Jose Barrios. Let's see who didn't make the trip for the Red Sox going into Toronto. I think I heard Tanner Houck might not be eligible for the trip, but don't quote me. Red Sox coming from a kind of low-scoring series against the Tampa Bay Rays. They even got no hit for 9 innings and still won the game, so that was fun. Eovaldi taking the bump up against Jose Barrios. This clash of some AL East Titans. It looks like we won't have JD Martinez on the Red Sox side, so their lineup is a little bit more watered down and maybe not as strong as the perception, right? You think of Red Sox, I don't want to pitch against the Red Sox. Well, maybe today we can pitch against the Red Sox. Eovaldi's last start was against these Blue Jays. Got to 6 strikeouts, did not get through 5 innings, but 95, 101 pitches his last couple games. We know that he can be leaned on to labor through some innings here if he's pitching well. So I don't mind looking his way in the back end of 150 lineups for DraftKings. Kind of the same with Barrios, although I'm more inclined to pitch Barrios depending on this Red Sox lineup. If we go look at the league so far, and I don't like to overrate and overreact to some of these metrics that we're about to overrate and overreact to, but so far in this young season, if we sort the league by WRC plus, we scroll down and look for Boston. Boston has been 26th in WRC plus, and that's bottom 5 in baseball. So we have seen their bats go cold, go silent. The Mariners lead the league in WRC plus. That's kind of wild, right? Basically what I'm saying is, the Red Sox bleed red, man, and if you want to pitch against them, take some shots at Jose Barrios against not a JD Martinez lineup. I don't think that's a crazy look. Went 6 innings against them, 5 days ago. Got 6 strikeouts. Ground ball to fly ball ratio was kind of 1-to-1. But we have seen some elongation of his pitch count, 80 pitches to 96. So now we probably expect him to be pretty stretched out. And, this is a guy they expect to be, I guess, their ace, right? I think Alek Manoah is statistically the guy that I would qualify as their ace. But, man, 5,500 for Jose Barrios. I think his downside is bad, but his upside is way too good for 5,500. That's borderline crazy. So I obviously we're seeing the wide range of outcomes: negative, a bad game, and a solid game. But at 5,500, that's a baseball bet looking for home run points. You get 12 to 15 fantasy points. I mean, we've paid 5,500 for some relievers or first timers getting called up. We know Barrios can be better than 5,500. So with Boston being as bad as they have been on offense so far, I'll take some shots at 5,500 Barrios on DK. So we'll add him to the bottom of the list here. And then this might be one of those spots where we'd be a little scumdacker about it, maybe play both sides of the fence here. But Barrios' weakness has been power to lefties the last couple years, a 1.6 plus home run per 9 to lefties. So maybe Rafi Devers, Alex Verdugo, guys like that can get into one. But against righties, keeps the ball in the park and keeps the ball on the ground. Trevor Story has not looked super menacing. We got no JD Martinez. Xander Bogaerts can be a problem, but the rest of this lineup gets watered down in the bottom half of the lineup. Guys like Rob Refsnyder, former Yankee great, Bobby Dalbec, Jackie Bradley Jr. all hit with or all have high K rates. So Barrios, I think it has to be considered just because he's egregiously underpriced on DK. Value subjective, I get it. We're just trying to get the top couple scorers here, but points per dollar, Barrios is kind of disrespected here. Eovaldi on the bump for the Red Sox. I'm a little less inclined to grab Eovaldi just because of what else is out there on this slate, above him and below him. And this Blue Jays offense is, 1, scary, 2, doesn't possess a ton of strikeout acumen in their lineup, unless we get like a surprise lineup. A lot of 20% or substantially less strikeout rates. I know he got to a strikeout per inning last start, but didn't get through 5, and I think he's the guy that, you know, I worry about the second and especially the third time through an order. So I'd be more inclined to get some Blue Jays bats just because Blue Jays at home, it should profile pretty well. So give me some Blue Jays offense, give me some Berrios. I don't think I'm going to get to a Red Sox stack, but I will have these obvious lefties in the player pool, and then Eovaldi. No, right now, but if you wanted to fill out 150, I get it. And I think Eovaldi has to be a more of a thought on Fanduel, just because we're losing the Corbin Burns and guys like that. And he's, you know, a bottom 4 price pitcher over there, as well as Berrios. So there is a range of outcome where they get you there. There's still upside at Scherzer and Bieber and guys like that. So it's not as much of a, I don't need it, but that's with a DraftKings mindset, thinking that I have 30-40% of Corbin Burns already sitting there, right? A little bit of Gibson, guys like that. So both sides of the fence on Berrios, a little bit of Blue Jays offense, a little bit of Red Sox. What are we looking at on PrizePicks for this game? Let's start with the Red Sox. I guess we got to put Boston. I never know what the abbreviation is. No run first inning at half a run. That's tempting. I think both pitchers are good, right? This is probably what both teams would consider their ace right now. So I don't think that's a crazy take. I don't know if I want to sweat it. Devers in the first inning, you know, that's always live against Berrios. So I'm going to stay away from that for now. And I probably don't want anything from the top here. I don't have Kiki's in the 5 spot. All right. Maybe you look at some unders on these runs and RBIs if you don't think that the Red Sox get you there. Maybe Trevor Story. But I don't want to sweat those either. Those are a little bit weirder. So nothing there on the Boston side that piques my interest. And then on the Blue Jays side, Berrios at 15.5 outs. That is interesting. You're hoping for 5.1 innings at that point, right? And he did get to 96 pitches. He did get to 6 innings against his team. So I'd probably take a look at that. 5.1 innings. So that's gonna say, let's give him 90 pitches in the K Factory. It gives me 19 outs. So you need good Berrios to show up today. Obviously a risk, but let's add that to the list. Jose Berrios over. What do we say? 15.5 outs. Yeah, we'll add that to the list, and then let's go look at what underdog's giving us on this one. Eovaldi's at 5.5 strikeouts, 92.5 pitches, 17.5 pitching outs. All right, cool. Berrios is at 5.5 strikeouts, 89.5 pitch count. That's right on the verse. I don't want to sweat that. Anything else here? Trevor Story fantasy points at 7 against Berrios. I kind of like the under, but I'm going to look into that because this team has been so bad. And 243 against righties, 10 strikeouts in 37 at bats. That's really, really not what you want. And then we know last year, like, I don't know, I'm a little bit of a Trevor Story hater because I felt like he got overpaid. Or I'm a hater in fact that I don't rate him as highly as the world did in the offseason. 77 Ks, 256 at-bats. What about on the road? 266 average on the road. I'd be tempted at the under 7 fantasy points on underdog. I'd be tempted with it. I don't want to add it to the list, but I'd be tempted with it. So if you guys want to act on that, maybe at the same game, something like that, sure. But I'm not gonna add it to the list. Let's get caught up on chat. The Red Sox didn't win that game. Kiermaier. Oh, you're right, Kyle. You're right. I'm tripping. I turned it off once they got the hit in the top of the 10th. It was like a double or something. And then I didn't care. I was rooting for them to win that game while being no hit with the man on second roll. You know, maybe a stolen base or a pass ball to third and like a sac fly or something. I think that'd be really cool to see. Cool because it's not my team, but cool to see a team win a game where they got no hit. What up, Hector? Hector in chat. What up, John? Wayne? You doing all right? Staying out of county up in OKC. Barrios volatile, and we like volatile in tournaments. Yeah, it's very volatile, but he's also very cheap, right? It's like when Barrios is on, he's on, and when he's not on, he's horrendous. Matter of fact, let me double check his like extra-efficiency area and stuff like that so far. Man, 70 plus of you guys hanging out. Can we get, like, I don't know what the record for likes on a baseball stream would be, but I would like to take a shot at it. Just 8% swing and strike rate so far. Just a 7% last game. But what's good for Barrios is the 70+% first pitch strike. So getting ahead in counts early, throwing strikes, and we know he can, you know, maybe get lost sometimes. So yeah, I don't want to sweat the strikeouts because of this lack of whiff of potential, but I'll take a shot at him to get 16 outs. And then what is the 5.4 xFIP? Yeah, baby. 3.8 against Boston, though. That's what you like to see. And a 4.6 Sierra. So, not good. Not good. We're hoping he builds up on that and becomes a little bit more like the Barrios we know and love. We did just get a Phillies lineup, so let's go and check that out. We were on Hoskins and Castellanos. Segura, Hoskins, Harper, Castellanos, JT Realmuto, Schwarber, Alec Bohm, Johan Camargo, and Matt Verling. So only change was the 9th spot. Confirmed. We're still on the Philly stack. Let's ride. All right, Mets at the Cardinals. Next game on the docket, Max Scherzer taking on Miles Mikolas. The Mets have a 3.7 implied run total solo, and the Cardinals even lower, 2.9. So they are projecting a pitcher's duel, and I get it. Max Scherzer is Max Scherzer, and I also think Max Scherzer should not be 9.3K on DraftKings. We're seeing maybe a couple opportunities with these prices today. Got to 96 pitches in his last start. That's a good sign that we can probably see 100 plus. And once Mad Max is fully unlocked with a unlimited pitch count, you like to see that. So yeah, 100 plus pitches for Max Scherzer at 9.3K. That's the problem, and I'm going to be playing that. With that said, I do want to put a little bit of respect on the name of the St. Louis Cardinals. First of all, the Cardinals. We go look at let's go look at play discipline. I'm sorry. I was looking at batted ball data. No, let's go look at Caper. They're last in the league in strikeout percentage. Is basically what I'm trying to build us towards. But we slow rolled it. Actually, no, they've gone up a little bit. Maybe it's against righties that I gotta split it. Have they gone? No, exponential. No, 20% K rate. The Mets actually have a 19.6% K rate, which is lower. Again, fun with small sample size, but it's there. So maybe we don't project it to be a super strikeout spot, but we do probably expect mostly righties in this Cardinals lineup, depending on whether or not they throw out like Corey Dickerson and Newt Bar, guys like that. I'm gonna think Edmund, Goldie, Tyler O'Neill, Arenado, Carlson. They got a couple lefties and switchies that they can put in the mix. We'll see. With that said, though, Scherzer's got elite strikeout propensity, especially if you can maybe neutralize a lot of these righties like Goldie, like Arenado, with his near 40% K rate. So I'm on both sides of the fence. I think Scherzer is too cheap at 9.3K. I don't think it's the number one matchup in the world, but it does play to his favor. And the Cardinals, I don't know, in my head I was thinking they had a higher WRC plus than they actually do. So that's something to keep an eye on. St. Louis has 108, so they're a little bit above average in terms of run creation. Something to keep an eye on. But we're playing some max. We get some exposure out there in Busch Stadium. And Mikolas on the bump for the Cardinals. apparently he's good enough to where Vegas doesn't want to give the Mets any love here. Michaelis in his 3 starts so far, 77, 91, 86 pitches, has kept the ball on the ground, more so in that last game, was kind of even in the 2 games prior. Did get some strikeouts in his last 2 games, so we'll see what that's about. Michaelis, not a guy we look to for strikeouts, less than a 20% K rate last year, especially to righties. So let's see, game log, play discipline. Are we getting whiffs or are we getting good calls? Plate discipline, 6.7% swinging strike rate on the season. So the strikeouts should start coming backwards. Looks like he's had a lot of Angel Hernandez behind the plate. You know what I mean? But getting first pitch strike. So that's what you expect out of Michael, is to eat some innings, pitch to contact, get some ground balls, which is why I was on Starling Marte in the first look video this morning. If Marte is going to bat top 3 in the Mets lineup, get that first inning plate appearance, and get 4 or 5 plate appearances. I thought his PrizePicks fantasy score was a little low for what Marte brings to the table. It was at 5.5 this morning. It's still at 5.5, and we know based on PrizePicks scoring, a stolen base in and of itself is 5 fantasy points. So if he draws a walk, if he gets hit by a pitch, if he gets an infield single, is what I was talking about this morning, he just needs to swipe a bag and he's there. So I do like the thought of Marte's 5.5 being a little too low. Now I get it if you want to respect Yadi Molina and don't want to tempt it, whatever. But I do have some interest in Marte over 5.5 fantasy points. Stacking either team, maybe not, though Max Scherzer does have a home run problem, and I was looking earlier, I think he is one of the league leaders in barrel rate so far, but his that's normal for him. These guys that have so much confidence in their fastball and don't back down, they're going to dare you to make contact. So you're kind of hoping that Kaufman holds a couple in. Let's see, Scherzer, let's pull up Scherzer on Baseball Savant. And then let's also pull up Scherzer on Fangraphs. Make sure there's nothing that we should be worried about. I don't believe that there is. Plate discipline, 13% swinging strike rate. So he's gone up in each game so far. First pitch strike is all right. Last year had a 16% swinging strike rate. So I guess there's even more room to go up based on what we know from Scherzer. But let's see. So far, his hard hit rate's been respectable at 29%. Expected ERA is under 3. So all the advanced metrics are on his side here. The 113.2 maximum exit velocity. maybe you want that to come down a little bit, but max is max. We almost always expect him to give up 1 or 2 homers, and then that just angers him and he strikes out the following batters. See, whiff percentage on his slider has been the pitch, 46% whiff rate with a 43% put away. So we're looking for him to get ahead, get those 2 strike counts, and then lean on that slider. Last year he had a 48% whiff rate on that pitch, a 28% put away. So I'm gonna get on Max Scherzer, obviously, for DFS tonight. We're gonna add him as a tier 2 to get the party started. I don't think I want to play Miles Michaelis. I think the strikeouts are a little bit on the fake side. The 8% or the 6% swinging strike rate kind of suggests so. With him, he's going to dare you guys to put the ball in play, or dare the Mets to put the ball in play. So I don't want to play him. I just don't know that he has upside for what we need in DFS, especially on a slate like this with some absolute aces on the slate. So no Michaelis for me. With that said, he can troll an offense and not get lit up. So I get it if you have lowered expectations or tapered expectations in terms of the Mets and their 3.7 implied run total. But man, if you're gonna let Pete Alonso make contact, you know what I mean, Lindor, Limo make contact, Marte get on base. So it is a spot where I probably get to some Mets stacks. But we're going to be responsible with it. So let's add Mets towards the bottom here, and we're probably going to have like a single-digit number on them. You guys stacking Cardinals? a little bit of power against righties. Arenado's been the big power guy, the 200 ISO plus against righties. Rest of this lineup, has been suppressed when it comes to power. So Max should be in a good spot. Let's get caught up on chat. Kyle Gibson over 5Ks on PrizePicks. I'd rather sweat the outs for Gibson, but I think 5 is doable. He has shown some good swing and strike rate stuff this season, but we also might be projecting regression on those swing and strike rates. So I think I'd rather just sweat 6 innings of Kyle Gibson. But I like I said, if I give him 90 pitches, looking at the K Factory, 90 pitches gives me 6.2 strikeouts. So I do get a lean on the over there. So if you want to sweat that instead of innings, go for it. But I'd rather go 6 innings, me personally, thinking that he could just ground ball his way through. But I think there's some value on that line you mentioned for Gibson, because Underdog had Gibson at 5.5. So if you just want some Kyle Gibson action, just like sports betting, line shopping, you're getting a better opportunity on PrizePicks because you could push versus on Underdog where you got to hit the over, By the way, if you're not an Underdog, you should be. I'll put a link in the chat. If you sign up with my code, they're going to double your first deposit up to $100. If you play on PrizePicks, you should probably be playing on Underdog as well. You can up to 20x your money, and then you can line shop between the two sites to get exposure to what you do and don't like, right? Bieber's my boy today. I'm with it. Cleveland's big mouth, inept center fielder Straw going to get heckled at Yankee Stadium the rest of his short. Yeah. I mean, Miles Straw, I'm a nice guy, right? I'll let him. He needed to be humbled. Garrett Cole humbled him. A 10-run game humbled him. Shut your mouth. And the rest of the world, because one drunk idiot or maybe 2 or 3 drunk idiots threw some stuff at a player, that's not the fan base. I wouldn't look at any team's full fan base based on one drunk idiot's actions. With that said, I'm a little different because I have a history of crowd control and riots and stuff like that in my prison career. He was part of the escalation process, and mob mentality kicks in real fast once you scale a fence and start yelling at a bunch of New Yorkers with the opposing team's jersey on. So he did not do himself any favors. There is no justification for throwing crap at players. You should be banned for life. They should look at the tape, get them dudes banned from coming back. But Miles Straw is an absolute idiot, and for him to attack an entire fan base because of a couple of drunk idiots, he's coming from an Astros team that. Okay. Anyway, I didn't want to get on a tangent, but you got me on a tangent. Let's move on. Speaking of the Astros, taking on the Rangers, Framber Valdez taking on Dane Dunning. The next game on the docket, Houston Astros have an implied run total of 4.4 runs. Rangers at 3.8. I don't know what the status on the roof is up there in Globe Life. I do know it's raining here, and I'm a couple hours away from the stadium, so maybe the dampness, the pressure, whatever, maybe decide to keep the lid on it. But Valdez versus Dunning, kind of an unremarkable pitching matchup, and we got a pretty average run total for both teams, with the Rangers being even lower. Looking at, we were looking at WRC Plus earlier. Texas and Houston are close to league average or below league average. 18th for Houston, 20th for Texas. So neither offense finding their gears just yet. But Dane Dunning and Valdez are good enough to eat some innings here, but they're also let's say bad enough in strikeout rates that they may not matter for DFS because of what we have elsewhere. So I think if I'm running 20 lineups, my most likely approach to this game is I'm kind of staying away from stacks here, and we'll just one off the talented bats. But if I wanted to diversify 100, 150, yeah, we're gonna get some Astros exposure. But obviously without Jose Altuve and guys like that, this lineup has a little less spunk. But Jeremy Pena has shown some power so far. Michael Brantley's a professional hitter, and some of these Fanduel prices are really, really low. And remember, on Fanduel, we don't get the Phillies, and I'm very in love with the Phillies tonight. So On the Ranger side, they'll be up against Framber Valdez. Valdez, a 20% K rate to righties last year, 26% K rate to lefties. This Rangers lineup will have some lefties in it more than likely. Guys like Corey Seager, Nate Lowe. Who else we got? I guess that's it. I originally had Cole Calhoun, but I guess Calhoun wouldn't make this lineup. We'd probably get like Charlie Culberson or somebody like that. So we can really focus on that 20% K rate to righties. With that said, that 70% ground ball rate is pretty high, and I think that's something that just kind of makes this game super average to target. Dane Dunning, at least last year, showed some power problems to righties, so we can maybe lean in onto a Bregman or somebody like that, but I'm not getting big numbers from anyone on the bomb detector, so this game just kind of exists. If they decide to open the roof and it gets a little bit hotter, a little bit more humid up there because it has been raining, maybe I'll change my tune here, but in short entry, I probably don't get too crazy with this one, but I'd be more inclined to get to the Astros side. Let's get caught up on chat, then we'll move on. Framber has crazy ground ball. Yeah, Framber's ground ball rate is pretty nuts. I guess we can look at his outs, though, right? That's why I like targeting pitching outs, because I don't need strikeouts. 4.5 strikeouts, 15.5 pitching outs. So, Valdez, what do we got in terms of your projected pitch count? 80 pitches in that last start. So he's been hovering around 80. That's a little alarming, and he hasn't got through 5 yet. So I'm probably going to stay away from that. And the walks have been a problem, right? And I hate to see contact pitchers with a walk problem. To play him in DFS is not what you want, because they don't erase those earnings with strikeouts, and then they just kind of waste pitches with these walks. Valdez did have a 10% walk rate last year to righties, a 13% walk rate to lefties. So that is a problem for him, so I'm probably just not going to sweat that. The 4.5 Ks, maybe 4.5 Ks might be a little too high. I don't know. Let's see. What's Valdez swinging strike rate so far this season? I think I saw, let me see. So far, Texas has been bottom 2 in strikeouts. Again, short sample. Anybody want to sweat Valdez under strikeouts? I guess that would depend on what this lineup is. Let me adjust the projected lineup and then do some cross-referencing here. So kind of looking at Marcus Semien to lead off, Corey Seager, Mitch Garver, Adolis Garcia, Nick Solak, Nathaniel Lowe, Culberson, Andy, I took a pill, Andy Banez, Eli White, Nathaniel Lowe. And now let's give Valdez 80 pitches. 80 pitches is give me, and it's actually, the algorithm likes it for strikeouts, but it's not something I want to sweat because of his walk rate. So I'm going to stay away from that line. And then Dane Dunning, what do we got on him? Actually, let's just put Texas. Anything in particular? 4 Ks on Dunning. 13.5 pitching outs for Dunning. So they're not even implying him to go 5. Pitches. Yeah, just kind of what you expect. All right, I'm very underwhelmed by that game, just as a whole, right? On dopey Milestraw, yeah, Milestraw, and maybe he was speaking emotionally, but I just, it rubbed me the wrong way for him to literally scale a fence, screaming at a crowd, and then in the post game presser, he's like all calm about it, like, yeah, dude, and he's like, shut up, bro, you know what I mean, like. But the world loves to hate on Yankee fans, so they just ran with it. I like Dunning under 4 Ks. I'm not scared to play unders. I'm not scared to play unders either. I guess I want to see what the Astros lineup is out. I don't know. Dunning was supposed to be joining John Gray in this new slider thing, but so far, when I was looking at his results, his slider was better last year than this year. 8% swinging strike rate. He's not missing bats. Seattle. who apparently is the best team in baseball. The Angels, they have a lot of strikeouts, and in Toronto, 8%, they don't strike out a lot. So I can understand a strength of schedule in one of those spots. Let's look at Dunning's. I guess we go to Baseball Savant. And just the fact that it doesn't look like we can bank on a massive pitch count. What did I say? Maybe 80? What happens if we throw 80 in the K Factory? Again, not a confirmed lineup, so it is what it is. 85. Let me close Cruncher for a second. %. The hard hit rate, or no, 51% hard. The hard hit rate's up. The K rate is slightly up, but the expected ERA is 6.6, but a 10% barrel rate. And why is that happening? Well, his slider has a spin rate of less than 2,100 RPMs. It's slightly up from last year, but the other stuff doesn't look that different. So they were kind of selling me some snake oil on that pitch in spring training, for at least for him. John Gray looked all right because he had a 38% whiff rate on his slider last year, and it's gone down to 23% so far this year. Only the sinker has been working for him in terms of getting some outs. So yeah, Quinn, I don't think that's crazy to take his unders. I'd like to see that confirmed lineup first, though, before I committed to that. Let's move on to the Indians game, or excuse me, the Guardians game and the Angels. Before we do that, want to mention that we did launch a partnership with Underdog. If you guys haven't yet, you can go to the free Discord. We made an Underdog channel. There's a link to sign up in there, but we also can just drop it in chat if you scroll up a little bit. If you sign up using my code, they'll double your first deposit up to $100. And when you do that, take a screenshot and DM me or Danny and let us know that you did that, and we will add you, add your name to the Underdog role. So let's just say, I don't know, let's say my boy Vince signed up using my code on Underdog. I could go to roles and I could add Underdog Homie, and that would change his name to a nice little green color. So little something extra to make you stand out. We got guys in here that are the first 100 or the YouTube subscribers, stuff like that. So a little something extra fun that you guys can have in the free Discord. Make sure you're in the Discord, even if you're not on Underdog. Guardians at the Angels. Shane Bieber taking on Michael Lorenzen. Shane Bieber has had that 6K prop that I liked this morning. I think this is a matchup against the Angels that they still offer strikeouts, and people tend to not get too confident with throwing against the Angels. The Angels have scheduled Ohtani to pitch on the 27th, I believe. So I do think Ohtani would be in the lineup today, but maybe keep that in your mind tomorrow, because I think Ohtani generally rests the day before he pitches, and that would be tomorrow. So keep an eye on that, and then maybe you can jump on. I don't know who's next for the Guardians in their rotation, but maybe their K prop gets even better, right? Bieber's 9,600 on DraftKings, and he's getting back to form. His last start, 86 pitches, his season high in pitch count. Probably expecting 6 innings from him again. And this is a guy that has a chance to be a Cy Young Award winner, like he has been in the past, a MVP guy, stuff like that. So I do like. I still like the Shane Bieber strikeout thought. This projected Angels lineup: Mike Trout, Rendon, Tyler Wade, the only guys with 1 in 5 or less K rates. The rest of the team against right-handed pitching in the last 2 years have strikeout rates well above 25%. So like the spot for Bieber to get some whiffs here. Bieber's been relying heavily on that slider. Like a 40% usage, but also a 40% whiff rate. That has me somewhat alarmed, and I'll tell you why. I might have some hedge Angel stacks, but just looking at Bieber's metrics through a couple of games, I always forget it's I before E. Game log, play discipline. 14% swing and strike rate, got up to almost 20% against the White Sox in that last outing. That's really what you like to see with an 81% first pitch strike rate. I mean, absolutely dealing in that game. Fastball sitting around 91. I believe that's down a tad from what we saw last year. And I mentioned that this morning. I would like to see it come back up to that 92, 93, which will set up the slider even better. But he backs it up with the slider, the curveball, so it just kind of keeps you on your back feet sometimes. And I think it's a good spot for him to jump into some strikeouts. And last year he had a 33% overall K rate, and it's looking like he's getting back to that form. So my favorite Bieber line 2 target, it is and was the 6 strikeouts. And Bieber has moved to 6.5. So hopefully you jumped on it this morning. At 6.5, it's still the same sweat in terms of the over, but obviously it's not as soft as what the line was this morning. If I give him 90 pitches against this projected lineup, I'm getting back 8.5 Ks. So I like the shot at still some implied value there, an extra 1 or 2 strikeouts value based on a 90 pitch projection. So give me some Bieber on PrizePicks. On Underdog, what are we looking like for Bieber props? Also, do we have any better lines to sweat for Dunning on? No, just 80.5 pitches. All right, we can. Framber's at 83.5. St. Bieber's at 88.5 pitch count is the line that they have on him. So we'll see if they start adding stuff later. But that's probably right where you project them. So I don't want that. Trout's at 1.5 total bases. Ohtani same. So is J-Ram. J-Ram's intriguing. The Guardians are flying from New York to LA, so that's one of the longest flights you can make. It's a little worse to go the other way, but maybe some jet lag kicks in, and it takes them a game before they start activating their bats. But if we remove that from the situation, just look at the metrics. Michael Lorenzen comes into the season last year with just an 11% K rate to lefties, and then the year prior just 20%. So while he can strike out righties, he does struggle a little bit more at putting away lefties via the K. So if this Guardians lineup comes out more lefties than righties, or with all the switch hitters that they have, it's going to be a tough lineup to love, to pick on, even though it's fun to root against Miles Straw right now and root for Michael Lorenzen because he's just a fun guy to root for. Looking at game log for Lorenzen so far through a couple of starts. 11% swinging strike rate. 14 of that came against that first game against Miami. He was just hitting, and then the Astros brought him down a little bit to earth, but an 88% first pitch strike rate. Really, really, really good. Probably only expect like 75, but that's letting you know he's not wasting pitches, so good on him. And did get to 79 pitches against Houston, 89 against Miami. So I'd probably still sit around 80 to 90 pitches as the projection here. And if we look at the K Factory with 80 to 90, I'm getting a decent K rate based on some of these decent K guys like a Bobby Bradley, an Andres Jimenez, and a Franmil Reyes. But let's wait and see what the confirmed lineup is before we get too attached. Stephen Kwan, he hit the wall. The whole thing started off of Stephen Kwan hitting the wall 2 games ago, and that's why Straw scaled the wall and was barking at fans. Well, yesterday Kwan got taken out in the middle of the game after like his first at bat. It was like the second or third inning. They took him out, so he cleared concussion protocol before he even played that game. But maybe there was a lingering effect, a lingering pain, and if that's the case, you might see a lineup that doesn't use Stephen Kwan in the starting lineup, which would take a scrappy strikeout bat away from him, and we'll see what they could put in his place. So just something to keep an eye on. Maybe he's still not 100% after hitting the wall in left field at Yankee Stadium. I don't have any intentions to play Michael Lorenzen here. I will play some Shane Bieber. Now let's talk about why I think we can make the Angels a somewhat contrarian stack, depending on what this lineup is, and it's the pitch report and the grades on the slider. Shane Bieber's best pitch, easily his slider, but man, do we have some strong grades for the Angels against the slider. Ohtani, Mike Trout, Taylor Ward, Jared Walsh, Tyler Wade have all seen some success against the slider since the beginning of last year. And, Mike Trout and Ohtani can hit some fastballs and some curveballs. So this could be one of those blow-up spots for Bieber. And maybe, this is an ownership or a leverage thought. But I would expect Bieber to be at least the highest owned pitcher on Fanduel. If he's not the highest owned, maybe Max Scherzer gets up there, but it's still going to be one of the highest owned pitchers on both slates. And because of that, I kind of like the thought of a hedge stack Angels, as long as this lineup comes out, relatively normal with the Ohtani, Trout, Rendon, Walsh in it, and then we can kind of mix and match around those core four. But just something I wanted to pass along. I still like the strikeout prop. I think there's too many strikeouts in this lineup to pass up on, but I didn't want to not mention that the Angels have been decent against sliders. So yeah. All right, chat's dead. I'm doing better preaching than y'all are doing amening. You guys ever have a preacher bust that out in church after it just gets quiet? I have. We only got one game left. I want to remind you guys, after this stream, or not directly after the stream, but in about 40 minutes, myself and Josh, we're going to talk tonight's 3-game NBA slate over on Fanduel, or really for PrizePicks, but you can use the information for everywhere. And then we'll also look at some underdog lines as well. So if you're looking for some NBA content, it's not over yet. We're getting there, right? We're getting there. You can feel the burnout, and we can start sensing, these slates are going to go from 3 and 4 games to, 2 games, 1 game before long. But it's not over just yet. So let's see what we can uncover. Make sure to join us at the top of the hour to talk some NBA. Main event tonight, the Dodgers and the D-backs. Walker Buehler taking on Merrill Kelly. Dodgers are the only other team other than the Phillies on this day, on this slate, to have a run total at 5. They're up against Merrill Kelly and the D-backs run total of 3.6. Looking at that K rate, the Arizona Diamondback, actually, was it Arizona I want to look at? I think it was Arizona against righties. Arizona's been up there in K rate, right? Even though their WRC plus sucks, so does their strikeout. This is a team that, although they suck, they also suck. So maybe Walker Buehler can right the ship here. Buehler's underlying metrics so far are leaving the door open for it to click, right? We're waiting for that affirmation, that confirmation of him to go back to form of what we saw a couple years back. We're seeing the pitch count up, but the 12% swing and strike rate, that's fine. I think the number that was alarming me on Buehler was this: the 4.5 xFIP, the 4.5 Sierra. We'd like to see that under 4, maybe even closer to 3. So look out for that. With that said, at Coors, the Atlanta Braves, and then probably more alarmingly the Reds, where he maybe got left in there a little bit too long. I think he left one up to, I want to say Aquino, but don't quote me. But yeah, so maybe strength of schedule has altered these numbers a little bit. If we look at last season, his xFIP on the year was 3.57, his Sierra's 3.73. So that's kind of what we're looking for. I think positive regression will come based on positive matchups. And right now on paper, the D-backs are a positive matchup. We'll see if they want to keep the roof closed out there in Chase Field. They shut it for Mad Bum yesterday. But this being a night game, maybe, since it's still early in the year, they open it up and that air is still free flowing. If it is, even if it isn't, I think Walker Buehler is still a play for me at sub 9K on DraftKings. I probably have a less of him than I would a Bieber, definitely less than a Scherzer, definitely less than a Corbin Burns, but he'd be in the mix as a top 4 pitcher, probably has a top 4 chance of being a top 2 scorer on DraftKings, which is pretty significant considering you have to play 2 pitchers, right? So give me some of Walker Buehler. I'm going to add him to my short list. I'm probably going to start him at the top of tier 3. And we'll go from there. I'm also going to add Shane Bieber here. Yeah. Merrill Kelly. So let's look at Kelly. I think Kelly's metrics deserve some digging into, because I think he's a super solid real pitcher so far. And we're just kind of waiting for him to not be. But so far, so good. The swing and strike rate, nothing to swing a stick at. 9% on the season. First pitch strike is fine. I think it's the advanced metrics that was really going in his favor. The Sierra at 2.8, the xFIP at 2.65. I mean, those are really elite numbers. So you don't have to be a high strikeout guy to be a good pitcher. You could be a guy that keeps the ball on the ground, 50% ground ball rate, reduces hard contact, 25% hard contact rate, and just kind of suppresses opposing teams. With that said, Padres are off to a sluggish start to start the season. Houston has been missing their bats more than they've been hitting their bats. And then at Washington certainly a team that's pretty top heavy on a couple of players. So is he benefiting from an above average strength of schedule? Maybe. Looking at last year, the numbers that we have to lean on in terms of xFIP and Sierra from a full season sample, 4.24, 4.43. So we don't want to redefine our thoughts on Merrill Kelly wholeheartedly. And we also, even past what happens today, especially if he gets blown up today, we don't want to forget that the Dodgers are probably the best team in baseball. So it's kind of unstoppable force and movable object in small sample size. I don't think I'm going to get too much Merrill Kelly, if any, just because the strikeout propensity is not really what I want it to be for tournament upside on a slate that is not shallow for pitching. So yeah, with that said, the Dodgers have the highest run total on the Fanduel slate, and they're right up there with the Phillies on the DK slate. So they're likely going to be a top 2, top 3 stack on the slate in terms of ownership, and I think it only makes sense to go after them. Last couple of years, Merrill Kelly has really struggled with power to righties, a 1.4 or better home run per 9 to righties, while keeping lefties on the ground and in the park, but the hard contact rate has been a problem. So for his hard contact to be dang near half of what he's allowed so far this season, I guess we should look at to see if he's doing anything differently, or is he just getting on the positive side of variance when it comes to results. So this season, a 43% usage on the fastball, 18% on the cutter, 15% on the curveball, 23% on the changeup. Looking at last year's pitch report, he had wrong guy. 50% fastball, cutter, curveball, changeup. So usage is kind of still there. The velocity on his fastball last year was at 92. So far this season, it's a little bit above 92. So a little extra zip. The cutter was at 90. So mostly the same pitch usage. And then let's pull up his savant, Merrill Kelly. See what we're dealing with. So far, a 2.5% barrel rate. Last year, at a 6.3% barrel rate. Expected ERA, yep. This year, a whiff rate of 45% on the changeup, but a spin rate at 2170. Last year, that changeup had a spin rate of 1970. So he found a couple hundred RPMs on the spin rate on the changeup. Maybe that's something that's a little different. The whiff rate is at 27% last year, 45% this year. So that would probably be the pitch that we write down. Is like, hey, is this getting softer contact? Had a 263 expected slugging on this pitch so far this season, an 0.59 actual slugging, and last year against that changeup, a 367 slugging with an expected slugging of 420. So looks like we look at the changeup as a pitch to keep an eye on, and then curveball. The RPMs on the curveball are about the same so far. The fastball is about the same. Sinker's gone down a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that. So we'll keep an eye on the changeup and how the changeup's performing for him, because that could be a key pitch for him if he's finding a little extra movement and a little extra RPMs. It's nerdy stuff, right? With that said, let's look at his splits or his batted ball data against, we said righties, right? Righties is where he had the problem last year. Yeah, 1.4 plus homer prime last couple of years to righties. So against righties through 2 games, I'm looking for pull rate, hard contact rate, fly ball, line drive rate. So fly ball rate's at 30%, line drive rate is 15%, so 45% of positive launch angle, I guess, infield fly. 20% hard contact. 1.83 ground ball to fly ball rate to righties so far. That has not been the case the last couple years. So we'll keep an eye on regression there. I'm willing to believe it because of the slight change in the changeup. But I'm also willing to short sample positive strength of schedule and also the LA Dodgers it. So I'm going to stack the Dodgers. Their run total is too high, and then pass Merrill Kelly is a beatable bullpen. But the curious case of Merrill Kelly continues tonight. And I'll be checked in to kind of see what he's throwing at us. All right, let's look at underdog and prize picks for these two games. So we'll start with the Dodgers. So when the Dodgers are on the slate, one of the things I always look for is Trey Turner. I talked about Starling Marte. These big base stealer guys, these speedy guys that can turn infield fielder's choices into infield hits, infield singles, and steal a bag. Trey Turner is one of those guys. He brings power and he brings stolen base potential. Now, he's not 5.5 fantasy points like Starling Marte, but if you're going to be a road guy that maybe gets an at-bat early, right now I got him projected to bat third. If you get that guaranteed first inning at-bat for the Trey Turners, the Starling Martes, the Randy Arozarenas, guys like that, I'm interested almost every day to just take a chance to chip in a chair, if you will. And if we look at Merrill Kelly keeping the ball on the ground, I'd probably be somewhat interested in Trey Turner's over 7.5 fantasy points. So I'm going to add that to my list here just because he has power and stolen base potential. I'm not going to go too crazy with the Dodger stack over here because I do think they are priced appropriately. Walker Buehler, 16.5 out. So that's asking us, can he go 5.1 innings, 5.2 innings? Maybe. I think his, like we said, his xFIP and his Sierra is a little bit alarming. But so far, Buehler has been generally stretched out. Got almost 100 pitches against Cincy. I wouldn't hate taking a shot on that. I probably am on the fence here. You could talk me into it, but right now I'm not going to add it to a slip. And then looking at why did it take Ohtani's bases off? Ohtani's in the lineup, right? I don't know why that would change. They have him at 91.5 pitch count. Rivals, and I know we've been looking at pitching props, but rivals, if you want to feel the thrill of 1v1s, check out this rivals mode. You can put it with the props, so meaning if I wanted, I don't know, what was something that we had written down, we had Corbin Burns over 93.5 pitches. I could add rivals stuff to it as long as it didn't have Corbin Burns. So when I click on rivals, it's going to 1v1 guys with a handicap, and then we can add them to our slips. So we also have NBA tonight. I'm hopefully going to add some NBA picks to my pool here because I really just have Corbin Burns right now. I'm sure me and Josh will sniff out some NBA calls. But for baseball, check this out. They got like Jock Peterson versus Colton Wong for hits. Lorenzo Cain versus McCutcheon for hits. Stuff like that. So Harper versus Connor Joe. Intriguing 1v1, right? I'd like to target like total bases, and sometimes you can get fantasy points or something like that. Hits is a little iffy because there's a lot of times where you just wash on one hit a piece. But they do have this, and I've been really more successful with it from an NBA standpoint. So for instance, we have Castellanos versus Charlie Blackmon and Hoskins versus Chris Bryant. I like Castellanos and Hoskins for homers tonight, but I'd be more inclined to bet those individually. But like for NBA, they have KD versus Tatum real points, and KD has the handicap 2.5 points added to KD, so he's going to start at 2.5. Tatum starts at 0, and so on and so forth. I think those are going to be some more fun lines to target tonight, so something to keep an eye on. Maybe they add more throughout the day. Let me go back to over-unders and double check on the Phillies to see if they've added some stuff we can get behind. They have Harper fantasy points, 1.5 total bases for Rhys Hoskins and Castellanos. So if we like their fantasy points on PrizePicks, and both those guys are high in the bomb detector, they have 2 of the top 3, top 4 ratings in the bomb detector, I'd probably take a shot on their over 1.5 total bases, right? So we'll add that to the list on top of Corbin Burns' pitch count. Mentioned they have Kyle Gibson at 5.5 strikeouts, and at last glance, PrizePicks had Gibson at 5. So if you like that, the better bet is on PrizePicks. And yeah, that's it for now. So we'll just leave that as is. Let's get caught up on chat. What do you think about parlay of Castellanos, Lindor, and Muncy over 1.5 total bases each? I like Castellanos just a lot. Probably my favorite hitter on the slate. Lindor against Michaelis. I don't hate 1.5 total base. I don't know. Man, they are really not giving this game much juice for offense. But yeah, Lindor's been swinging a pretty hot stick. As long as he's in the top 3, getting that first inning look, I don't mind it. Probably not a super comfort click, but 250 average allowed last year from Michaelis. Looking for him to bleed one through the infielders. I like the Castellanos a lot more, and then the other one was Max Muncy. We definitely want a good lineup order for him, but he is a road team, so it's probably not that important anyway. Merrill Kelly against lefties, 230. Kelly, yeah, I'm fine with it. With Muncy, can you get like, I don't know, I guess RBI is a little whatever, but could you get Muncy with a RBI prop and hoping that Trey Turner or Freeman are in scoring position? Do we have an RBI prop for Muncy on Underdog? We do not. What about for PrizePicks? Muncy, 1.5 hits and walks. No, we don't. All right. Maybe they add it later. But I don't hate it. Like, I think all those picks are like reasonable. All right. So I guess that's it. We'll do some more research. What I'll do is we've got the free Discord and the YouTube member section here. We've been posting the prop detector Josh dresses up for PrizePicks, and I'll also post some of my favorite baseball picks. So if you guys are members of the YouTube channel, look out for that. If you're not, I think the lowest membership is $5 a month. Obviously, you're not going to get the spreadsheet and all that good stuff that you get at rundfs.com, but a couple of parlay picks, stuff like that. Just by being a channel member here, make sure you link your account from YouTube to Discord. There's videos on how to do that out there, and then you'll have access to these channels, and then you'll get access to the prop detector, all that good stuff. Maybe we'll have a goal on the NBA stream, and we'll be able to share it. But you guys have been crushing it in here. I mean, look at you guys chopping up the NBA slate, going at it. My boy Vince in their mock wall, chopping it up. So join that, man. These guys are grinding, they're helping each other, and we keep the vibes right. Hey, shout out to Rocksteady, Big Man 44, and Aaron BG for jumping in the Discord today. you guys can join the party for free by clicking the link below. And then if you want to get in the premium Discord, I do a pre-locked voice chat. You guys can grab a mic, jump in on, hang out. We'll be sweating NBA and baseball. Early lock on DK. You can go to rundfs.com, click yourself VIP memberships, get signed up, get the spreadsheets for not just baseball, for basketball, the projections for NBA, and then this right here, the spreadsheet. It's really, really good. Really good. That's going to do it for me. I'll be back in 20 minutes. We're going to be talking some basketball, me and my boy Josh. So I hope you guys want to join me. Maybe we'll add some prop picks and stuff like that for you over there. Hey, if you're not, just do me a solid. Check out the video I posted this morning. It's the first look PrizePicks video. If you guys want something like that, a piece of content in the morning to wake up to, I need to see it in the numbers, right? Put in some, you know what I'm saying, a couple hundred views. It wouldn't remain a high priority for long. I'm gonna try and do it as long as the interest is there, but also as long as I have time. But when like NFL comes back and stuff like that, it's hard to prioritize that stuff. But if you guys like it, you find some value in it, interact with it, engage with the video. Is the best way to support the channel, support me without having to open up your wallet, right? Just help me help you and others, and even more so for prop betting, right? It's not like DFS where you gotta keep the fire to yourself. You can share it with the class. So check out that video, hit that thumbs up on that video, leave a comment, stuff like that. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes for NBA. If you're out of here, twitter.com/Gundacker. Tell somebody you love them, because I love you. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.